to Why Though the Podcast. Good morning and hello, Destiny Johnson.
Hello, Lizzy Acker. How are you in your Christmas sweater?
I'm fine, but not as good as you with those bowls of pho earrings. What are they?
Yes.
Chicken noodle soup or pho?
Bowls of pho earrings because I think it's very much soup weather outside.
I absolutely agree.
And I love pho, so here we are.
The only people who don't love pho are people who haven't had pho yet.
I would agree with that, except my mom doesn't like pho.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom kind of has the taste of a toddler a little bit.
Okay. Well,
But I will say that she did a great job breaking me out of that. She
That's
made me
great.
try lots of different foods,
Okay,
and so
well,
I have
that's
a
good.
much more adventurous palate. So I very much appreciate that, and I love her even if she doesn't love pho.
I mean, once again, shout out to Destiny's mom.
Yeah,
I feel like
truly.
we do that. We do that a lot.
My mom fan club.
I also have a great mom. It's just
Yeah.
that my mom doesn't text me, doesn't belong to the text thread, which you can be part of if you want to.
Yes.
It's just, you're just going to text the word advice to 503-751-8731 and then click the link and subscribe. And then you could be getting texts from me every day.
Like my mom.
Yeah. Recently, I sent a text about something that happened to me at the zoo. I went to the zoo with my daughter, and I have this problem at the zoo, which is I know too much, and it makes me crazy when people are saying things wrong, like handing
That's
out
me
incorrect information
all
at the
the
zoo.
time. Yeah.
But, you know, it's like so prevalent at the zoo and so obvious. It'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, look at that polar bear. He's such a big guy. You're like, both of the polar bears here are female polar bears. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I know that. Like, read the sign. I mean, but I also know a lot about them because
I'm obsessed
of my
with
job.
the red panda.
Yeah,
at the
love
zoo.
the red panda.
Mhm.
But my favorite animal at the zoo right now, known as well, is Jolene, the baby orangutan.
Yes.
So cute. Oh my gosh, I love Jolene. And she's getting bigger and she's swinging around, and
So cute.
I feel so bad, but this volunteer at the zoo was like, to us, it was a very quiet day at the zoo. We were just the only people there. He's like, you can see the baby in the back. She's 6 months old. And I was like, well, that's not true.
Yeah.
I wrote about her birthday 6 months ago.
Yeah. I
She's a
remember.
year and 6 months old.
Uh-huh.
And like, I saw that baby when she was 6 months old. She was a little baby, and now
Yeah.
she's like climbing all over the place. Anyway,
Mhm.
held my tongue. But then someone else showed up, and he was like, there's the baby. She's 6 months old. And I was like, actually, she's a year and 6 months old. And then I felt terrible.
Oh, I would
because
have said it.
the volunteer was a bit flustered.
Mm.
And I was like, I don't know why. I mean, like, I know why, because in my heart, like, I need those people to know that she's not 6 months old, that a 6-month-old baby orangutan is not doing what baby Jolene is currently doing. But
Do you think it's a journalism thing? Because there's something in me that also I'm very like, actually.
I think it's a thing maybe that makes us, I think it's like a pre-journalism thing.
Okay.
That those
That
people that
funnels-
have that
funnels us
yes,
into.
because I was 100% like that wave.
Yeah,
I was like that as a
too.
kindergartner, and
Yeah,
my
same.
daughter, like, is similar to that too. So,
Mhm.
but and then later some mom was like, look at the sea lions, and then Nona was like, oh mommy, look at the sea lion. I was like, it's a seal, very loudly.
That's so
So
funny.
anyway, I have a problem, but I texted my text people about that. So that's the kind of
I relate to
things you can get.
orangutans. We have similar body types. We have a similar diet. We're both ginger. I love that for us.
yeah.
We
Jolene
have
is a
similar
star.
habits, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we like to lounge.
Just lounging and just like
Yeah.
just spending quality time with your family and like
Love that.
eating snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jolene. But I'm obsessed with the red pandas. We once had 3. We had to get rid of the mom and the baby because the males will become territorial towards the baby was a boy. So we had to get rid of the mom and the baby. So now we just have
I'm sure we
Moshu,
I'm sure we
who's the
moved
male.
them.
We did.
We
did.
didn't get rid
We
of
didn't
them.
get rid of them. Oh my gosh, they went to another zoo. They're thriving. They're thriving at another zoo.
Right.
Because the mom and the baby boy can stay together,
Mhm.
but the male will become territorial
Yeah.
as the male baby gets older.
Yeah.
So now we just have Moshu still
Yeah.
at the zoo,
Mhm.
and I'm obsessed with the red pandas. I think
Yeah.
they're so cute.
It's such a cute little like area
We have a great
too.
zoo here, yeah.
Yeah, great zoo. I
This
think
isn't a zoo podcast.
it isn't, but you know what? Highly support. I love the zoo.
Yeah.
And also, it was like the first day of the teacher strike, so I assumed it was gonna be packed. Nobody there. I saw both Amelia Gray and Nora, the pandas, and Amelia Gray was like digging through her food. We saw them so up close. We saw her smash like this giant clam.
Oh
I mean,
my
it was a
gosh.
great zoo day.
Yeah.
I think like don't sleep on the zoo when it's rainy.
Oh yeah,
It's a
that's
good
great
time to
point.
go.
That's a great point. Yeah. And it's raining here so much in Portland. And we have entered rainy season.
Yep.
It is daylight saving time.
No, it's actually it is now standard time.
Oh, standard time. I'm so sorry.
It's
yeah,
okay.
I always get
Speaking
that mixed up.
of
It has
Lizzy
happened.
correcting people, I correct people on that.
Yes. I never know which is which. I
Yeah.
just know that the time is I always mix that up, to be fair.
No, everybody does. It's fair.
The time has gone back. We have fallen back, if you will.
Yes.
And everyone's feeling it a little bit. But welcome to Why Though the podcast.
Yeah, this is Why Though the podcast. It's not Zoo Though the podcast.
It's not Zoo Though the podcast, but I think that's great. And we are journalists who cover lots of local stuff, including lots of zoo stuff.
Yeah.
So, you get a lot of it here.
Yeah.
But this is a podcast where we turn Lizzy's, in my really credible opinion, if I'm being honest, in my opinion only, critically acclaimed advice column called Why Though into a podcast where we chat about the questions that people send in. And you can find her podcast at OregonLive.com/whythough, spelled WHYTHO, the cool spelling.
Yeah.
And so we just chit chat about all the cool stuff that you send in. And one of the ways you can send stuff in is texting her, like she mentioned before.
Yeah, I'll tell you one more time. You can text the word advice to 503-751-8731 and then click the link and subscribe. And then you'll get texts from me basically every day. Yeah. Not Wednesdays. I don't work on Wednesdays. Not the weekends. I don't work on the weekends. Yeah. But in general, like every other day. And I love to hear from you. Mm-hmm. We can chat. Mm. So, should we do some advice?
Yeah, we have a bit of a sad question.
It's sad,
today.
yeah.
Yeah, but a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah, a real conundrum. Are you ready, Lizzy?
I'm ready.
Okay, somebody writes in, Dear Lizzy, my grandma's not doing well. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
She's in her late 80s and has entered into hospice care. I love my grandma and haven't seen her in several months, and I would love to go visit her. The only problem, plane tickets from my city to her town are so expensive. I don't think I can afford to go more than once in the next few months. Should I visit her now and maybe not be able to go to her funeral? Should I wait and see if prices go down? It feels like an impossible choice. Signed, Broken Sad.
That is really sad.
That is a
really hard.
sad and hard sounding choice.
And really real. I mean,
absolutely.
I think I have all of my grandparents are dead now. R.I.P. All great. And for one of my grandpas, actually, about 11 years ago he died. And at that point I lived in San Francisco and he lived in Eugene. And I actually ended up when he went into hospice, I went to visit him, and he died the next day, and I couldn't go to his funeral. And I think, like, for me, I'm so grateful that I got to spend that time with my grandpa. I was the only person that made it in time, and he was fully cognizant. He was 90, but his physical body had been disintegrating, for some time, sure. But mentally he was totally there. And so I was so glad that I got to be with him in person. And we had this amazing conversation. We had some whiskey. He told me the only way to write an honest autobiography is posthumously. He said that, which I thought was really funny. And he was wonderful, and it was great. I couldn't afford to come back for the funeral because I went then. And for me, that was like the right choice. But I think that might be different for different people. Like, it really depends on, like, one of the reasons that not everybody rushed to see my grandpa when he went into hospice was because he had gone into hospice before. Like, he had been up and down for a while, and he kept recovering. So it was like, I was the one who got lucky and went at that time. But not everybody, like, there were other times that he could have died over a period of like 8 years, or even before that. My grandpa had multiple heart attacks before I was even born. He had, bypass surgeries, and
I have a grandpa like that.
Yeah. So, like, with a lot of people, you don't know when the last time you're going to see them is, and you don't get to necessarily have this like last beautiful moment with them. Or like, I have another grandparent, one of my grandmas, suffered from very serious dementia.
Mm.
And I don't even remember the last time. I don't know what the last time I saw her was. And if it had been reversed, like, it might be different, you know? Like, I do wish I had been able to go to my grandpa's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
My whole family was there. You know, you get to be with your whole family and really talk about this wonderful person that you loved. And I did go to the funerals for my other grandparents because they were in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Oregon. So that one was in Oregon too, but I wasn't in Oregon at that time.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, I think this is very hard, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I think there's more things to consider. You know,
Mm-hmm.
is your grandma coherent?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, would it be more meaningful for you to see her now or to spend the time with your family after she died talking about her?
Yeah.
You know, I think when someone goes into hospice care, you should probably assume that they could die at any time.
Mm-hmm. It's typically what hospice care is for.
Yeah, right. But, you know, like, do you know? You don't know. I mean, Jimmy Carter's been in hospice for like a year. You know what I mean? So, like, the thing that happened when I got to my grandpa, I saw him and I talked to him and I was like, oh, he really is dying now,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to other times. And I called my dad, and my dad got on the plane and didn't get to see him before he died. But, you know, I think, do you have anyone there that can give you an honest assessment of the situation?
Mm-hmm.
In our case, we didn't really, because everybody there was so wrapped up in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you know, I feel like sometimes the older generation, it's got to be so impossible to look at your peer and see that they're dying, you know, your husband or your ex-husband that you've been so close to so long, and to honestly assess the situation. We definitely did not have that.
Right.
People were like, oh, he's okay.
Yeah.
That were there, you know. So you needed someone who was a third party, really. Yeah. I mean, think about, is this for you? Is this for them? You know, if they are totally out of it, I really think that might be the question to ask yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, will you be able to have an interaction with them? And if it was me, if you know, I would say go now. If you want to see them alive and they have just entered hospice, like, probably go now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't make it to the funeral, that's a bummer. But if you want to, for me, when I'm dying, I would like to be around people who love me.
Sure.
That was, you know, like, being with my grandpa the night before he died was truly one of the most life-changing experiences. It made me really, like, consider what I wanted in my life in a way that I hadn't before. I was like 30, and I was like, oh yeah, my grandpa's not talking to me about his work. You know, I'm like gonna cry talking about this, but, like, he was like so happy to see me, to have someone, his granddaughter, he only had one granddaughter and one grandson, and, like, but he has 3 sons, and, like, that's what he cared about, his family and people who loved him. And at that point in my life, I was kind of like, I don't need to settle down. You know, like, it changed the course of my life being there, because I was like, actually, I don't know, when I die, I want people that love me around. I mean, I want people to love me around my whole life.
Right.
So anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent there, but yeah, so if you want to see this person alive, I would say you should go see them, and you know, worry about the funeral later.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. What do you think, Destiny?
I agree with what you said, that you kind of have to, if you have to choose one or the other, that I think you have to think about it like that, right? That you're gonna have to think about, I guess, what is more important to you, or if you're going to be able to offer any comfort to that person.
Right.
Like, if your grandmother is in a place where she's going to be able to receive comfort by your visit,
Right.
she may not be. I've dealt with this a couple of times. One time I was pretty little, maybe 8 or 9. And my grandmother was dying of cancer. It was sad, and she went into hospice care, and I was like kind of around, but not really. You don't really understand, and then when I was in high school, my mom's mom died. Pretty sudden. We thought she had pneumonia. Just kidding. She had stage 4 lung lymph node and brain cancer. Yeah, and died like a couple weeks later. And my mom had a pretty fraught relationship with her, and so it was difficult. So it was important for me to be there as a doer.
Right.
I wasn't necessarily there because, don't get me wrong, like I loved my grandma despite, a fraught relationship, but I wasn't really there for her. I was there for the people who were there. Right. Like it was really hard on my aunt. It was really hard on my mom. And I was there just to make sure that things were happening. Right. Like people were eating, nurses were checking on her, like things were happening that needed to happen. Family members were being called, like things needed to get done. Yeah. And, that was my role. And I think that is an important role.
Totally.
And so sometimes you have to take care of your family in those situations. And if that is the decision that you need to make, that's the decision that you're not making for yourself. Right. So like I see, Broken Sad, that you are asking this question kind of for yourself. I think you kind of have to pull back and look at the whole situation a little bit. And ask if you can serve a greater purpose in this time. Right. And it can be really difficult as you mourn too. But your mom is about to lose a mom or your dad and
someone's about to lose a mom.
Right. And so this is it's all very difficult. The other option is, and I'm not saying that this may not be a good option for you, but you can open up a credit card and put, this, I mean, like, this is a pretty significant life event. You know what I'm saying? Like, totally. This is not, I want a new pair of shoes. I want something frivolous. Like, this is very serious. Yeah. And so if you have the means to pay this off within a reasonable amount of time without incurring like a serious amount of debt or something, this could be an option for you as well to do something like that. And just make sure that you're not putting anything else on this credit card, and just pay it off every month, and just incur that little bit of, I mean, I say little bit, I understand that tickets are very expensive. My family lives all the way across the country. It is very expensive to fly, and
also there's the time aspect. I mean, like if you have a job, leaving your job can be really difficult.
Hopefully bereavement, I mean, I don't know of course what kind of job that you work. If you work like a retail or fast food or something like that, they don't care about that kind of stuff, or they can't care about that kind of stuff. So of course there's stuff like that too, but maybe there's some other option like that that you could do. I mean, even like a GoFundMe or something, I would hate for something like that. Like I would hate to put you in a position like that, because I know it's really uncomfortable, but in this day and age, it's certainly not unheard of. I guess I just mean that there are also other financial options for you outside of, I guess, the traditional ones that maybe don't feel like options. But if you are just feeling so stuck, I guess invite you to think of maybe something untraditional as well. But ultimately, I'm really sorry. This is a really crappy position to be put in. I mean, you have to make the right decision for you. I don't know that there is like a right. For me, like, I don't think I would care about being at someone's funeral personally. Right. I've never really cared for funerals. I'm not interested in speaking on somebody's behalf. I'm not interested in sharing my emotions with other people about the time that I spent with somebody. It's for me. Yeah. So I would rather be there to help my immediate family, because or be with that person, because I feel like that would make me feel most like me. Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's totally reasonable. And I think that as hard as it is, this is a decision you have to make for yourself. But thinking about your parent who is dealing with this, and like, what is their support? That could help you figure out when would be the best time to be there. And honestly, like, you just can't know the best time. That, I think that's the thing that this person is hitting on, is that, like, we never know what is going to happen. Your grandma could live a month, a year, a minute. All of us could.
So you can't know what is going to be the best thing. You just have to do the best thing for you right now in this moment.
Yeah, know that you tried your best, and,
Right.
and that means a lot. That's going to mean a lot to your family and your grandma, and it should mean a lot to you too.
Right.
That you spent that time, and if you weren't there for her last breath or her funeral or whatever, like, you spent meaningful time with her when you could, and that means a lot.
Yeah.
It should mean a lot to you.
Right.
It'll mean a lot to her. It should mean a lot to your loved ones. Like, you know, if you weren't there for the, you know, some huge moment, like, that's okay.
Right. I mean, you had a whole life.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it
means a lot.
There is like a difference to, you know, my grandma who had dementia, it was like the last few years of her life are not how I remember her.
Right.
I'm saying, I don't remember the last time I saw her. I know I saw her not long before she died, but it wasn't, you know, very meaningful for me or for anyone, probably more for my parents, you know, my dad, but I, you know, have like my whole life of memories with her that are meaningful. Yeah. And, you know, I also don't love funerals, but I spoke at both my grandma's funerals, and I really am glad I did, because, you know, it was really powerful to see the people who loved her that weren't just like her family, and to think about the lives that they led and the people that they influenced. You know, like, I think with both of them, I was like, I knew them on one level, but they were like these full women with like lives way, way, way before me, you know, and they're part of me. So they're continuing on in this different way. But anyway, I'm really sorry. It's not hard.
Easy, yeah.
And it's hard for your parents too. Be gentle with yourself. Yeah.
Please, yeah. Whatever choice you make will be the right choice. It's not going to feel like the right choice. Yeah. But it will be the right choice.
It will be.
And you'll be glad that you made it.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Ultimately.
I think so. And it'll be okay. Everybody dies. It's terrible, but it's true.
Yep, life, death, and taxes, right? That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Can we switch gears?
We can.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say on a lighter note, referencing my grandmother's death, though. I mean, but it is a lighter note.
Yeah.
We did find, my grandma was like a slightly mysterious woman, mostly because she was drunk most of the time. So it was like kind of hard to, you know,
one kind of mystery.
Like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Like what she was really about, because she was drunk. But we did find out that the matriarch of her family, so like her mom's mom, I think, is related to the matriarch of this family. There's a documentary about them. It's called The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
I was like, are you about to say The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia? For some reason, I like knew that that's what was coming.
Yes.
You're related to them?
I'm related to The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. I'm related to Mammy White.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to rewatch.
That is, if you've ever seen the documentary, it's just basically about this family and how they terrorize this county in West Virginia because they're just like drug-addled outlaws.
They are criminals.
And yeah, it's anyways. So there's that. That was fun to find out via just going through my grandmother's stuff after she passed away.
I have to say, I didn't find out any secrets about any of my grandparents.
Yeah, it's just that.
I did though. At some point, I got to do something with this. My grandma's grandma, my great grandma, whose middle name I'm named after, Grandma Frida. I knew her a bit. Great.
Wash your face.
Yes, Grandma Frida. Don't wash your face with soap.
Yes.
She was an advice columnist, Destiny.
Wow.
I'm actually following in my great grandma's footsteps.
I love that. That's amazing.
And we have some copies like in my grandma's things of, I think it was like homemaking advice. I don't even know. I've got to like look through it.
We have to find one.
I have access to them. I just haven't. Okay.
We have to like revisit.
Okay.
We need to revisit some of Grandma Frida's. That's amazing. Wow, yeah. I love that.
Okay.
So shall we move on to no longer shall we talk about our dead grandmas, but maybe Smash or Pass?
Yeah, let's do Smash or Pass.
Smash or Pass. I have some Smash or Passes.
Okay, good.
Do you have some?
Yes, I've been thinking. I'm like, weighing a couple, but
love that.
Why don't you smash? Are you gonna smash something?
Yeah. Okay, so this is a little segment called Smash or Pass. If you're new to the pod, we talk about things that we would smash, aka things we love, and things we'll pass on, aka things we do not like. So my smash for this week is it is National Diabetes Awareness Month.
OMG.
Yes, and I have a relatively rare form of diabetes
Mm-hmm.
called LADA, which is latent autoimmune diabetes, which
Wow.
is counts for like 2 to 12% of all adults with diabetes. It's basically it starts really slowly in adulthood, and people
Mm-hmm.
who are typically over 30. I'm just special. It happened to me basically on my 30th birthday,
That's so
like
cool
a month
for
later. Thank you so much. Basically, it's like an autoimmune disease that attacks your pancreas and kind of functions as type 1.
Mm-hmm.
It causes you to stop producing insulin, and so you
Mm-hmm.
become insulin dependent. So I encourage anybody who's curious to know about any type of diabetes. There's so much
Mhm.
misinformation about diabetes, particularly type 2,
Mhm.
which I don't have, but you know that diabetes comes from being fat or unhealthy or
Mhm.
blah blah blah, and like if you just lost weight you wouldn't have.
Mhm.
I mean, all of this is an absolute misnomer. People treat fatness like it is because that's what caused your diabetes, instead of it being like a symptom of diabetes.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which is so wild. So I encourage
Educate
anybody
yourself.
to just go out and read some reliable medical information, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll
Oh
put you
my
in the right
gosh.
direction.
I love it.
So that's my smash.
She would totally tell you.
I
Yeah.
would be happy to.
Well, I was going to smash a book, but I do that all the time. So I'm
It's
going
reading
to.
season.
It's always reading season. But you know what I did last week also?
Tell me.
I went to the mall to go to a chocolate shop.
First of all,
So
love them
I'm
all.
gonna smash. Yeah, what mall? Washington Square Mall. I'm
Mhm.
smashing Washington Square Mall. I have ranked malls in the past and have not put Washington Square at the top. I had my reasons.
Is that where Din Tai Fung is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's number 1 in my
So
book
I went to get there's this new Japanese chocolate shop. Amazing.
Mm.
Had to go eat chocolate for work. Dang.
then.
I got Din Tai Fung. I
Yes.
just DoorDash pickup there. Then you just go eat it.
That's your brilliant move.
It's so
and I love
good.
that.
DoorDash pickup Din Tai Fung
God.
at Washington Square Mall. You can sit anywhere you want. Then I was like, oh, I realized I had a story I needed to write like right then. So I was like, well, there's Wi-Fi here. I just worked at the mall, got another snack at 85 degrees Celsius, which is a delicious Taiwanese bakery. Like, why does Washington Square Mall have the best food? There was nobody there at, Tuesday morning or Monday
Mhm.
morning at like 10 a.m. I just want everyone to know you can be going to the mall. You can be doing work at the mall. And you can get yourself like a Lush bath bomb. Why not?
I love that.
Smash them all.
Smash the mall. I love a mall. My mom and I, so I'm from a really small town, so our mall has been decrepit for many, many, many
Mhm.
years. But my mom and I used to just like on weeknights, we would just like go to the mall, and
Yeah.
before we knew Chick-fil-A had some questionable
Mhm.
morals, we would go to the mall and we would just get Chick-fil-A on like
Yeah.
a weeknight and just like walk around the mall for fun. We wouldn't buy stuff. We would just walk around the
Yeah.
mall.
My husband and I used to walk around the mall for fun
Yeah.
all the time. And like when it's raining in Oregon, like I'm assuming it's hot in
It's
Florida.
hot in Florida, yeah.
It's raining in Oregon. I mean, I like Clackamas Town Center. I love Clackamas
Yeah.
Mall. But, and it's way closer. I also like Lloyd Center. We go to the Lloyd Center to like ice skate, but man, Washington Square.
The only thing about Washington Square
Fancy.
that I will pass on, this isn't my real pass,
Yeah.
is that they don't have a Barnes & Noble. And the Clackamas Square is a
yeah, they do.
2-story
Yeah.
Barnes & Noble,
They do.
which I appreciate.
And
But-
so does the Lloyd Center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do they even have a bookstore?
The Lloyd Center also has
Wow, Washington Square.
one
Do
of
you
my
not even
favorite comic
have-
book stores
Mm.
moved into there,
Yeah.
Floating World Comics.
Yeah.
Shout out to Floating World Comics.
Yeah. Okay, what's your
Um,
pass?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have many passes, but
Mhm.
my pass for this week is gonna have to be it's standard time,
Oh,
but
okay.
daylight
Yeah.
saving time.
Right. Yeah.
Because as I was mentioning to Lizzy earlier, it not only does it obviously disrupt everyone's sleep. I mean, there are statistics that there's like people have like
People die.
people have like heart attacks and stuff. It's like
so
just like,
dumb.
not good for you. But also, more importantly and more selfishly,
Mhm.
my best friend lives in Arizona, where they have gotten rid of this archaic
Yes.
system, and they're on standard time, or no,
They must be on daylight savings
they're
time
on
all the time.
daylight saving time all the time. So she's in the future right now. My best friend Annie.
Or maybe
which
she's on
means-
standard time all the time. I don't know. Never mind. Sorry. I'm not even going to get involved.
Yeah. So she
The
right
time
now,
is different.
She right now is an hour ahead of me.
Yeah. But other times she's at the same time as you.
Yes.
Okay.
And so now she goes to bed an hour before me because we have fallen back. And so now I'm just like alone for an hour at night. And we've been separated by time and the government has done this to us. And I'm resentful.
Yeah,
And I just hate it.
Agree with you.
I
like
just hate moving time.
1,000%. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. I've written about it. I
just think it's dumb.
I mean, you know
I'm
what?
not a farmer, so I don't care.
I'm gonna double down on this pass.
It's so dark,
it's
so early.
I mean, I actually think we should stay at standard time. I don't care. Just pick a time.
Yeah, just pick one.
I had to get up at 4:30 this morning because of this time change situation, because I have a 4-year-old.
It was dark for so long.
Who doesn't care. Yeah. I mean, and also like my body, it takes me so, I get up at the same time every day. I get up at 5:30 every day. It's going to take me like weeks to get back.
Yeah.
And then it's going to change again. And the government has the ability, they know it's bad, nobody supports it, change the time. And right now they're not changing to standard. They're not changing to daylight savings time because they have to change to daylight saving time permanently. You have to requires an act of Congress or something. I'll put a link to it. I don't remember the exact thing. But to change to standard time permanently does not require this. Everyone, Oregon, Washington, California could change to standard time right now. That's why I think Arizona is actually on standard time. So I think that like when we're on daylight saving time, we have the same time as them because it's wrong. It shouldn't be, because we're actually not. We're far away from Arizona physically. Anyway, figure it out. Our government.
Yeah, please.
Please,
I'm begging you.
Work. This is a bipartisan issue. This is not political.
No. It's sleepy. It's a sleepy issue. I've
had a headache for 4 days. I'm also going to pass on menstruating. I'm just like, this is not helping my headache. Anyway,
moving on the time. So that's our smash or pass. Yeah. We do have one final thing in this episode, and I sent this to Lizzy over the weekend because I just thought it was
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous and kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
We not only can you find this lovely advice content on OregonLive.com, but we have a lot of advice content. People like advice content. We have many advice columns. We have Dear Annie. We have Ask Amy. We have like Ask Some Doctor people. We have Miss Manners. We have like some garden
financial
people.
ones.
Yeah, we have lots of stuff, and you can find it all on OregonLive.com. This one's Dear Annie, and I thought it was so funny. I sent it to Lizzy, and I literally just said unhinged. Yeah. And it says, Dear Annie, I traveled 3 hours to visit a friend on her birthday, but she took a call during my visit. It's also like not, the headline's a little misleading.
Oh, I don't know. I think the headline pretty much gets it.
It does, but like she didn't travel to the friend.
Right, that's true. Okay, read the question. Read the question.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this because I think it's so silly.
Yeah.
So it says, Dear Annie, please tell me if I am wrong. I was in the town where my longtime friend of more than 59 years still lives. It was her birthday. Since I was in town, I decided to stop by to say happy birthday in person. So kind of you. Shortly after I arrived, her cell phone rang and she answered. She was having trouble hearing the caller and asked the caller to call her on her landline. She answered the landline and totally ignored my presence. I thought this was very rude and left her home. She later called me wondering why I left. I had a 3-hour drive back home. Was I wrong? Signed, Insulted Friend.
So you're telling me, this is what I'm gathering. You stopped by at your friend's house unannounced on her birthday.
Unannounced on her birthday.
And she answered the phone. And you're
on her birthday.
So offended. On her birthday, the day that people are calling you constantly, right? Maybe it was her child. You've known her for 59 years, so you guys are grandma age at the very least, right? So could be your child, could be your grandchild, could be your doctor, could be, you do not know who called her. It could be anybody. You stopped by her house unannounced on her birthday. She takes a phone call and you're offended? I'm so confused.
How long would somebody have to be on the phone before you started to get offended and would leave their home?
20 minutes, at least.
I mean, feel like an hour.
I mean, I'd have to be like, and it would have to be
for
like
my best friend
fully
to be on the phone.
Me. Yeah, like, do you have no other part of your relationship you can fall back on?
Yeah, my very best friend would have to be on the phone for so long and completely ignoring me for me to be like, I wouldn't even be that mad.
I mean, I feel like there's something else going on.
My best friend of that many years, I just like, I mean, I could
get
just
something out of their fridge.
Yeah, I can just like open my phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could do anything. Twiddle my thumbs.
Literally anything. You could even go get yourself a cup of coffee.
It was
I mean, get a grip. So what was Annie's advice?
I mean, that was essentially, Annie kind of said the same thing. They're like, Annie said, dear insulted friend, on one hand, yes, you could look at your friend's actions as rude. Picking up a call while you were there seems questionable.
I don't even think it seems questionable.
I disagree.
Like, this is the year 2023. Your phone rings. You know, like, generally, if
she's not over for high tea. She
right.
came over because it's your birthday to say happy birthday.
If it was like the middle of a meal and you were at a restaurant, I mean, if it was the middle of a meal, I do think answering the phone could be a little rude. On the other hand, we don't even know who is calling. Like, what if it is your doctor? You know, like, what?
Yeah. Picking up a call while you were there seems questionable. On the other hand, you can look at it as her feeling comfortable enough with you to treat you like a true friend who doesn't judge her when she has something else to do for a minute. It was her birthday after all. I think you're being a little bit high maintenance on her birthday, and I would have to cut her some slack. All the while making it known to her that your pet peeve is being with someone who picks up the phone to speak with someone else while they already have company. The fact that she didn't know why you're mad indicates that had your roles been reversed, she would not have been offended. Remember, people are not mind readers. You have to tell them what bothers you and what hurts your feelings. Also, the fact that she left without indicating that she was leaving.
It's so dramatic.
How entitled.
It just seems like you're like itching for a fight. This is just drama. You're hoping for drama? Why? Why did you do that? The only time I leave someplace like angrily is like when I want to get in a fight. Like, I guess, I don't know. I'd never do that. I can't even think of a time when I have. Maybe when I was like younger and my boyfriend was being a total jerk.
Like, this lady wanted the birthday girl to be over the moon that she happened to be in her city and stopped by her house.
You didn't even go there for her.
Literally.
You didn't even go there for her.
This lady wanted the birthday girl to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you thought of me on my birthday.
I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's insane. That's insane.
It's crazy.
Behavior.
I mean, I would say
old people are like this though. In my opinion,
yeah,
old people email me.
I don't think we can
you do from your iPads.
paint that broad of a brush. But I will say this does sound like
stuff about Gen Z.
I'm about to say this does sound like boomer behavior to me. Like, it's not always about you. In fact, it's never about you. It's about them. Let it be about them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to agree. I just thought this was so.
It's very funny. It's I wish I could like I want to view this event like.
Yeah, fly on the wall for sure.
Like, what? I want to know how long she was on the phone. I want to know if you like she couldn't hear her on the cell phone. It made me think of my grandma because my grandma never used her cell phone and whatever, it didn't work very well, but she would always get calls from like telemarketers and she would always pick up, right? And I would be like, Grandma, you do not need to pick up. Not because I'm offended but it's just like, you don't need to talk to these people. She's like, you just never know who's calling. And I swear to God, we had this conversation. I was at her house one time, and then like the next time the phone called, she picked it up. It was her like nursing school college roommate or something she hadn't talked to in like 50 years. And they had this amazing conversation. I was like, wow. Yep. I guess I was wrong, because it's true. That generation of people, like, they legitimately have had the same phone number. I have my grandma's phone number still memorized. They had her phone number was written down in her friend's book for 50 years. She called, just was like, oh, I'm going to call talk to Franny today. Mm-hmm. And they had a great conversation.
My grandma had a corded landline. And we would like, if you were using the phone, you'd walk around with it. Right, it was almost like a pain because, you know, it's got a cord on it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
cutting people's heads off and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, wow.
So
be
silly.
a better friend.
But if you're into more advice content like Lizzy's or Dear Annie, you can find it on OregonLive.com. But for all of Lizzy's content and also more episodes of this very podcast that you're listening to, you can go to OregonLive.com/why though.
Yeah. Do it, please.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, tell your friends. We're here every Thursday.
Every Thursday the pod comes out. Columns out
every Tuesday.
Absolutely. New column every Tuesday, but all the old ones are up and you can read them. Still really valid, great advice.
Yes. Really great advice, if I do say so myself.
Like we did today.
Yeah. Good job, Dustin.
Great job, Lizzy. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Why Though the podcast. Listen to other episodes and read my column at OregonLive.com/why though. You can support us by leaving a 5-star review or heading over to OregonLive.com/pod support.